Now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk Hookup. Get ready for more of the best fishing information and the hottest tips on improving your angling skills. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Just download that app. You can listen to all the archive shows. If you catch some killer little tip that Kristy gave out and you want to go back and listen to it, Adam does a great job. Usually has those archive shows posted right away within an hour, oftentimes after the show, and you can catch up all Let's Talk Hookup 24/7. And again, we are giving away such a rad prize at the end of today's show. Somebody's going to get to go fishing, either a caller or a texter, and that's going to be determined by the coin flip at the end of the show. They're going to get to go fishing on board the Liberty on a full-day trip at a Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. So cool. Pete had already mentioned boats back, Coronado Islands run. They had yellows yesterday. They had great cod fishing yesterday. It is back and happening, and somebody's going to get to go fishing.
Yeah, they're fishing all weekend. So if you want to go tomorrow, for example, you could go. So get on the Liberty out of Fisherman's Landing. Hey, I want to mention that our good buddies at West Coast Marine have Parker boats, Yamaha outboards, Camus boats, North Star boats at the Newport Boat Show this weekend. So you want to go check out some great boats. I wonder if Benny's boat there. I wonder if Benny's hanging out there.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Yeah, with his new Camus boat. But go see the guys at Nick and the gang over at West Coast Marine. They're great people, and they have a bunch of Parker boats there and Camus boats and North Stars.
You know me, I'm a diehard Parker guy. I love my Parker. I'll always have it. I got it from West Coast Marine. But that new Camus, that I think it's the 28 with the twins that have that step-through tower.
Right.
Dude, that thing is
pretty sweet.
It's like my new dream boat. I love it. Yeah, go see Nick and the boys for sure. If anything, just go drool on that boat, man.
Yeah.
It is absolutely sick.
And grab yourself a Parker and go check that out,
That's
too.
it, man.
I wonder if they're going to have in the water for a little test drive, too. Who knows? I don't know, because it's in the Water Boat Show.
I would be down.
Yeah.
That thing looks like a rocket ship with the twins on it.
Yeah.
Hey, well, as promised, we're going to find out what's biting out there. It's time for our catch report. And today, our FishDope.com report is sponsored by the very best. The easy in and out pull through, the lowest gas prices at Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena. You can pull up to the new expanded Summit Gasoline and get those low gas and diesel prices for your car, truck, or your boat. They can now accommodate 24 cars and trucks to fuel at the same time. Plus, they have 12 diesel pumps. The bistro is full of everything that you need for a great day on the water. Plus, you can get 100 pounds of free ice with a 35-gallon fill. Go in and say hi to Martha and their friendly staff at Summit Gasoline. Free ice for Let's Talk Hookup listeners, and as always, the low gas prices. That's all at the San Diego Sports.
I was over there this week and had a nice visit with Martha, and in the bistro they have so much stuff in there. I mean, who'd have thought you could buy bacon at something? They have like this. They have this killer deal on bacon, and
funny.
Also Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and they have fresh breakfast burritos there. I mean, it's more than just gasoline. Go and check the bistro out because they have a lot of good stuff at bargain prices.
And 100 pounds of free ice.
And 100 pounds of free
ice. Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Yeah.
Those guys are rad. Well, hey, with that said, let's find out what's biting out there. Our FishDope.com reporter is standing by. That's Captain Mark Wish of Pacific Edge, our private boater buddy. Good morning, Mark.
Well, good morning, Ricky, Pete, Bob, Kristy. Great show this morning. So much good information there. So, we finally lucked out with some decent weather these past few days and through the weekend here. It's been a rarity, but we'll sure take it. But we're going to get much improved coverage with these nice conditions. We'll find out what's really swimming around both the islands and inshore and offshore here. So with the tough weather we've had, the water temps definitely took a hit. But they're bouncing back. Past few days, some of the buoys offshore are up 2 and 3 degrees. And, man, that is really good news. Hopefully things will start straightening out offshore, and we'll see a little influx of some of them gamesters. Starting up north, way up north, those halibuts definitely had a break with all the wind we've had up there at both Rosa and Miguel. But with this window, some guys got out yesterday, and they just walloped them big flatfish up there. And also of note, there was at least one tanker-grade sea bass caught up there, 60-plus. So hopefully with the better weather and straightening out conditions, that whole thing's going to shake loose a little bit. At San Nick, no exotics. but as expected, excellent bottom fishing. Them bottom grabbers, they just are stacked up out there so thick. It's so much fun fishing. Same thing at SBI, no exotics. But, guys, with the new regs now in effect, I think we're going to see some depth changes go into effect here. We're going to have some new areas to fish. And if I understand correctly, some of these areas, they've been closed for 20 years. So we're going to have some good opportunity to be up there rooting around. And do not forget the descending device. So with the new regs, it's mandatory. And my understanding is it's not just like having one stuck in your tackle box somewhere. It needs to be ready to be deployed. So, I've got a special outfit, short little stubby rod I made with one of those old Rockley's ones, which aren't available anymore, but they work great, and a 3-pound sinker ready to go. And hopefully use that tomorrow on some of them.
That's good advice, Mark. I didn't know that about the you can't just have it on board. That was new info to me and really good info.
You have to have it ready.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So if you're rock fishing, it has to be on a rod with a sinker on it. Is that what you're saying, Mark?
Well,
or at least ready
my
for deployment.
understanding was it's ready to be deployed.
Gotcha.
So
you can't just have it on a drawer down below.
So you could have it on a separate piece of cord, 100 feet long or whatever. But, I think you'd probably want to have that sinker close by. And, because of the bigger cowcods around, that sinker, we're not talking 12 ounces. You might need 3, 5, or more pounds on those bigger cows for sure to get them back down. And, I know those things are tasty, guys, but no cowcods for dinner here.
No. But, even if you catch them in Mexican waters, you cannot import them. That's another thing, too.
Yeah, I can't possess them.
Yeah.
It's, and they might change that. They got to figure that out because, apparently the cowcod population's well recovered, much faster than they thought it was going to. And so there's no shortage of them around. So they'll figure that out here one of these days. Go over to Catalina with a little wind here now and perfect moon tide situation. We should see some better action on those sea bass. They've been noticeably MIA. It's been a very weird start this season for sure. But, there are a few dabs of squid around here and there. Not much, but a little bit. So you can either start on the bait ground if you caught some bait or on the kelp lines just inside of there. See what happens with those sea bass. It should get going here. And worthy fallback position is that halibut fishing over there at the island. It's just been stellar here all winter, spring. Still biting. They're up really shallow on the beaches. They're biting the sardines along with the squid, so it's not a problem getting bait there. Just another incredible season on those halibuts for sure. A lot of really nice ones, 15, 20-pounders, and a few bigger ones. And that's this week's report. Can't really talk too much about them tuna fish because they're way the hell down there. Hopefully they decide to kind of come back up a little bit. I think that main fleet's down there about 100 miles, something like that. Plenty of coverage.
We've had a south swell here this week, first south swell of the season. Stuff's going to start pushing up. And, of course, the best way to keep track of it all, fishdope.com. $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, lowercase, no space. Hookup Now is your $30 code. Mark, how do we find you?
Well, Pete, we're in Huntington Beach. We're on the corner of Bolsa Chica and Edinger. And the phone number is area code 714-840-4262. The website's PacificEdgeTackle.com. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Dig it, Mark. Appreciate that. Great report as always. We'll talk to you then. All right. Well,
while we're waiting for let's jump into the phones. We have some very patient callers.
Yeah, we do. How about this time we talk to John? John's calling us from Escondido this morning. Hi, John. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. Looks like we might have lost John, so how about we continue to do it and talk to Jeff? Jeff's calling us from Costa Mesa this morning. Hey, Jeff. Good morning. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, Pete. Welcome back, Rick, Bob, Kristy. Nice to hear your voices. I picked up annual insurance from Kristy a few years ago for trip insurance, and it was because I heard of this famous Mexican caballero, Ricardo, who fell off his burro and broke his arms and had to limp on back home. I bought it for my son who motorcycle rides in the desert. So
smart.
I'm covering him when he falls off his motorcycle.
That's smart. Yeah. And what about yourself when you travel?
I have it all the time. And certainly at my age, Pete, you never know what the heck's going to happen. I might fall off a curb and break a leg. Yeah. So it's for $280. It's mindless. It's a brainless maneuver, and it's so easy. So easy. One phone call, she sends you everything. You get cards come in the mail and stuff. Couldn't be easier. Couldn't be better. They do a great job. So, and nice to see you last week as well, Pete.
Yeah, thanks, Chef Jeff. Appreciate that cool. Very much, and thanks for the call. Appreciate that. You have a great text. Huh?
I thought so. This is from Ernie calling us from Prosper, Texas. Says, I've got a question for Kristy and Bob. What's the difference between an annual policy and a per-trip policy in terms of my coverage? Also, if I have an annual policy and its coverage is for $3,000 and I have 3 trips scheduled for the year, each valued at $3,000, do I have to designate the policy to cover one trip or another, or can I roll the policy money from 1 year? I'm just looking for a little clarity.
Sure, that was a great question. So on the annual plan, there are different levels of the annual plan. If you have the $3,000 deluxe plan and you have multiple trips planned, the idea behind the annual plan is we recommend that you cover at least your largest trips. So there's different intervals: $3,000, $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, or up to $15,000 on a family plan. So if your trips are $3,000 each and you have 3 planned, you don't need to give us the exact dates of your travel. The premise on the annual plan is it's not likely that you would have all of your trips interrupted in a year or canceled, but it could happen on one. So if it does, and let's say unfortunately it happens on the first trip of the year, you would still have, and you had to use all of that $3,000 cancellation benefit, you would still have all of your other benefits left: the medical, transportation, the emergency medical coverage, the rental car damage and theft coverage, and all the other ancillary benefits. But you could then purchase single trip coverage to cover just like a very basic plan to cover your other trips for the year as far as cancellation coverage if that occurs.
Can you purchase a second annual plan if you already used that one up?
Yeah. You can, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, you can.
Because sometimes maybe that's cheaper, right? If you have 4 more trips planned, use the coverage on the first one. You buy an annual plan, you're covered for the rest of the trips, right?
Absolutely. We've done that several times for clients.
And whatever the scenario exists, if you have a $3,000 plan and you use $1,500, the remaining $1,500 still exists and is still available for going forward.
Yes, Rick, that's absolutely correct. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It is a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. I have a great text here, also from Matt. And Matt didn't put where he was from, but he's somewhere in the L.A. area there. And he says, good morning, guys. Great show. Question about insurance. Do I need an umbrella policy on a new boat? Very good question. I often wonder about that myself. Bob?
Yeah. I would recommend an umbrella policy because if you get a personal umbrella policy, it's going to cover... let's say you get like $1 million one. They're usually around $350 a year, but it covers your cars, your home, your boat, and everything else that you insure, because the insurance companies require you to carry minimum limits, which is basically a deductible. So if you have you need $250,000 limits on an automobile, and you need $300,000 limits on your liability on your homeowners. And then that extra $1 million kicks in addition. So if you had a car accident, several people involved, injured, then you'd have $1,250,000 per person and $1,500,000 for everybody that you injure. So but I would get it on the boat. You can add a boat for $10 or $20, unless it's a commercial fisher, and then most of those we write with $1 million liability anyway.
But you could have a general liability umbrella policy and add things to it.
Yes. So your personal umbrella policy is ideally designed to cover all of your personal insurance policies. So your homeowners, your auto, a boat policy, a motorcycle, those kinds of things can all be put under the umbrella.
Under the umbrella. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right, special guest on the line here, Captain Frank Lopresti. Good morning, Frank.
Well, good morning. How are you guys?
Boy, pretty impressive seeing the Royal Polaris back in with that load of fish yesterday.
Wasn't that cool?
Well, did you get all the details yet? I don't want to repeat.
No, we haven't. We just got to see,
all right, well,
we just got to see it.
He had amazing wahoo fishing. He had 207 wahoo. Jeez. And he also had 15 fish over 200, one of those weighing 358.
Whoa.
And caught by Daryl Shelbourne, an ex-crew member who retired last April, who went on the trip. And it was just an amazing trip to watch it unload. You know, there wasn't very little of that 60, 70, 80-pound fish. A lot of it was at 140 to 190. And the 200s weren't just cheap 200s. I mean, they weren't. There were a few of the 204s and the 202s, but most of them were 240 to 260 like that. So it was just an amazing trip, okay?
It was amazing to me to see Fisherman's Processing, Raymond and his crew down there, and how many loads they had to go back and forth to take all this fish over to the processor, right? It was a lot of fish.
Well, they even had Tim Ekstrom running fish with his truck, so they were busy, that's for sure. That was for sure.
Frank, did I hear
I also want to Go ahead.
I was going to say about Daryl's big fish. Was that on the yo-yo jig?
It was not on a yo-yo jig. It was on a PL68 at 5 o'clock in the morning.
How cool is that, man? Wow. That's awesome.
And I'm sure Daryl pulled that thing up in no time.
It was less than an hour, and he had 56 pounds of drag.
Oh, my God.
Only Daryl could pull that off. Yeah, for sure. So, Frank, we talked earlier about this great El Salto trip. Ricky claims that he caught a bigger fish than you. Is that true?
I didn't say that.
Well, he might have. I don't know. You know, he can lie. But, you know I threw away at least 46-pounders. You know, it was to the point where you caught this beautiful fish, and they netted it, or he picked it up out of the net, and you look at it, and you go, is it 7? Yeah, I don't think so. Throw it back. And that was it, you know, and lots of 4s and 5s. And, yeah, of course, we had a few of the 1 and 1.5 pounders. But I think between Don Crabtree and myself, we had, like, well over 400 fish for the 4.5 days.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And a wonderful group.
There was a running joke on our boat that it was exactly that. Another 6-pounder. It's just another 6. It's just another 6. And again, I just need to stress that. Like, these aren't like a 4-pounder that somebody calls us. I mean, a 6-pound largemouth, especially down there, they pull so hard. I mean, they look giant. It was incredible.
If you don't put it on a scale,
let's not forget to mention Norm Campbell, who had 2 10-pounders and 8 9-pounders, and Joe Amagrandi had a half a dozen 9-pounders. So it was some pretty unbelievable fishing, that's for sure. And just in case anybody's interested, I have one opening on the next trip leaving on May 10th. Wow. The last thing I wanted to mention is Polaris Supreme is finally getting back on the water. He went back in the water yesterday. Brand new shafts. They're the best you can get. It cost us about $30,000 to get those 2 shafts, but he's back in the water and leaving on a 2-day as we speak. So he lost. You know, I think he lost a half a dozen trips.
Well, that's good news that Aliar is back on the water, because you know that he's going to go get him for sure. I want to also mention, too, we know that the Royal Polaris Shogun used Dawson Insurance Services and Kristy and Bob, right?
Absolutely. They give us wonderful service, and they take good care of us, okay?
Yeah, and also you always encourage people to buy that travel insurance when they book a trip.
I can't encourage people enough. You know, it just seems like not too many people want to do it. And, you know, some guys say, well, I'm only 30 years old, I don't need it. But then their wife hurts themselves, or something happens, a kid gets hurt or something, and then they have to cancel, you know. And we do our best to fill the trip back up as well as we can. But, you know, when we've turned down a bunch of people and we don't fill it, well, we have to keep the money. And that to me, it leaves a bad taste in somebody's mouth. But you know, if you buy the insurance, you don't have that worry. So it's a risk that some people don't want to. Some people want to take, and other people don't. I encourage people to do it. I know on all the trips we're doing, me and Kathy are doing, we're doing the insurance. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Frank, and we appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you, dear. All right, you guys. Well, that's it. I haven't got anything more to report. So talk to you later.
Thanks, Frank. That's a lot to report there. Yeah, nice to hear from you, and great to see you down there.
Dude, I'm so close to just buying our last spot Del Salto.
You want to go back?
I want to go back so bad.
I want to go back there for sure. That'd be a fun group. But we got to get some local field research done too, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Some bear it
it's
in.
happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the phones are packed up. If you want to get your shot to get through, it's 213-432-1090.
All right, let's jump into the phones.
You got it. How about this time we talk to Dave? Dave's calling us from Anza this morning. Hey, Dave, welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. All right, looks like we might have lost Dave. Well, I had a great text come through. This is, good morning, all. We buy the annual insurance every year, and it paid off for me huge last year when our Alaska seaplane flight was delayed by 14 hours due to weather. We were reimbursed for our hotel, our dinner, our taxis, and everything was very smooth on recouping our funds. How does the plan work for rental car coverage? If something were to happen, do we pay the damage to the rental company and then make a claim? Just looking for some clarification. That's all from Ted in San Diego.
Okay. Hi. Good morning, Ted. That's a great question. As far as the rental car damage coverage, the claim would be put in with the carrier, and the carrier would then coordinate with the rental car company. Typically, it can be handled directly through them, and you wouldn't have to pay out of pocket for that.
And as far as this coverage on that trip, so basically they got delayed and their flights got canceled. You're covered for that?
Yeah, so all policies that we write come with travel delay coverage, and so depending upon the policy, there'll be a minimum number of hours that you have to be delayed before coverage kicks in. But yes, like on the annual plans, on the annual executive plan at the $5,000, $7,500, or $10,000 level, you can have up to $200 in reimbursement for expenses on a delayed. So if you get delayed at the airport and you can't fly out till the next morning or something like that, it can help cover the cost of a hotel room, which a lot of times will be paid by the airline. But your meal, if you needed to buy some clothes to get through the night, things like that's
up to $200.
Yeah, a day.
Just included in the plan.
Yeah.
That's what Ted was saying.
Part of the deal.
Just with his annual plan, he got his hotel covered, his food covered, his taxi, back and forth. Everything was taken care of because of that annual plan.
All right, let's jump back in the phones.
How about this time we talk to Dan calling us from Carlsbad. Good morning, Dan. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning. Pete, this is Dan Walsh. I just wanted to give a nice testimonial.
The pizza man.
Yeah, here I am. Listen, I'm headed out to Tonga to go diving with humpback whales, and it's trying to get to Tonga. You can't get there from here. But I called up. There's a superstar in the office you guys haven't mentioned yet, Heather. And Heather and I worked together a number of times. I got an executive policy annual that's going to cover it. This is not a cheap trip. And I just want to be sure that there's no glitches in the system. But I just wanted to give a shout-out to Heather because she really worked hard to help me get what I needed.
Well, thank you so much.
Rad.
So, wait a minute. So you're going to go to Tonga to dive with humpback whales?
Yes, I am. In August,
so cool.
It's a snorkeling trip, and there's no scuba diving involved, and so it's going to be really good. It's I think about a week-long trip, and I'm looking forward to it. As you know, I've been a scuba instructor for 50 years, so this is something quite different for me. So I'm really looking forward to it.
How do you get to Tonga?
Well, that's the whole thing. You have to go. First off, I didn't know where Tonga was. And it is east of New Zealand. So you have to go either to Sydney, Australia, Auckland, New Zealand, or Fiji, and then head either down or east. And like I said, there's no easy way to get there. And it takes, it's like I'm going to leave on August 25th. I have to be there on August 29th, and I lose a day. So actually I get there at 2 a.m. on the 29th. Just because of all the travel involved. There's a lot of layovers and things like that. Yeah.
And Dawson Insurance Services has you covered. That's the good news. Hey, I also want to mention, too, Dan, you are going to be here for the Apps and Taps for the San Diego section of the CCA California over at Marina Village. I believe it's on May 18th, right?
May 18th, which happens to be my birthday. As Wayne, I think Wayne coined the phrase Captain Dan's Pizza Company, so I'm going with it. And we'll be making pizza. There's a lot of food. We're going to have barbecue and sushi on a roll and lots of beer and things like that. But come over and I'll make you a great pizza. I've done it for Tuna Wars. I've done it for the Mad Max Fishing Club, and I'm looking forward to doing it again for CCA.
Yeah, and that's going to be great. I'll be there, and we're going to be honoring Frank Lopresti.
Yeah.
Doing a little roast on Frank Lopresti. I know a lot of the guys. Oh, yes. Oh. A lot of the guys. I know Brian Kiyohara, Tim Ekstrom. They're going to be doing a little roast on the guy.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Which is going to be super. I'll be there, and going to be fun.
I'm not missing that.
Apps and Taps, ccacalifornia.org. You can get your tickets there on Saturday, May 18th. I think it starts, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, Dan?
Yes, and there's tickets available, and there's still tables if you want to bring a bunch of friends and get a table. Those are available too. So anyway,
we'll
see you there. And I'm sitting at my edit console right now, putting back together some of the testimonials from some of the guys we've already got on video. So
thanks.
Good Dan, opportunity to call in.
For sure. Great to hear from you, and we'll see you at Apps and Taps on May 18th over at the Marina Village, right next to Seafort there. So that's going to be fun, super fun. If you want to get through, 213-432-1090, open right now. I have a great text here from Darren in Menifee, and he says, good morning, always love the show. Question about culling. This is not for an insurance thing, but I think it's important to say. With the new vermilion limit, is it legal to throw a medium-sized red into the live well and cull it later with a big one? I would say absolutely not.
I don't know, but I would sure err on the side of you, Pete. I would think probably not.
Maybe we'll have to get a determination from somebody who really knows the facts. But here's the problem: you put it in a bait tank, the fish is probably going to be dead because it's coming up from depths. If you're fishing shallow water, maybe that would work, but
I'm with you.
You're going to have a dead fish on your hands, and you're not going to be able to descend that fish properly if you cull it. That's just my opinion. I don't know that's a fact, but
I'm only not saying no because I didn't read that in the regulation. But 99% of my everything says there's no way you get to do that.
Yeah. I think just because that fish is going to be dead if you don't get it back down. That's my thought anyway. Yep. It's a good thought, but
yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, it's a bummer that it's down to 2. I cannot get behind that, but it is what
doesn't
it
make
is.
Any sense.
It just doesn't to me.
It's like when they made the Boccaccio limit.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? It's the same kind of deal.
You can tell me all the science proves this or that you want. I just don't see it. Maybe we've been lucky that our red areas are very prolific and others are not. I don't know what it is. I think it's a bummer. I think it hurts the fleet. I think it hurts the guys that love going and catching them. But you know what? There are still plenty of other great rock cods out there, and we'll get our 2 reds and we'll go target the other ones after that. But it's a bummer.
Yes.
And there's nothing more than that for me.
For sure.
This is a great one. Says, good morning, everybody. Great show. My question is for Bob and Kristy. How do I know if my homeowner's insurance covers my fishing gear in my garage? Also, what other things do you recommend that I look out for when it comes to covering other big boy toys in my garage, dune buggies, things like that?
Okay, gotcha. So, great question. As far as your fishing equipment, so your homeowner's policy comes with dwelling coverage, and then it also comes with a personal property limit or personal belongings while they're in your home. As long if it's garaged in your home or at your premises, then it would be covered under that limit. Now, when you take those items away from your property, your coverage reduces. Do you want to talk about the buggies
Yeah. Let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say that you own a home that you have insured for $500,000. So typically you're going to get around $350,000 to $400,000 on contents coverage, which is your personal property, including your fishing gear. And then when you take that personal property off premises, you get 10% of the personal property coverage. So in the case where you have $500,000 on a home and another $350,000 on contents, 10% of that, or $35,000, will go to your fishing equipment. So you do have to pay your deductible on it. The good thing is if you have travel insurance, it does have coverage for fishing equipment. What is the limit on that now? Is it?
It's pretty low. It's basically the idea behind that. It depends on the policy, but usually $1,000 to $2,000, and it's to help pay for like towards your deductible.
Yeah, towards your deductible. But a lot of people think, I'm taking my fishing equipment to Mexico or Fiji or whatever, and it's not covered. Well, it is covered. The other way you can go is you can schedule that on a homeowner's policy. Typically, and depending on the policy you have, it's $15 $1,000 or $30 $1,000. Depends on the company and the type of coverage you have. But when you schedule it, it covers it anywhere in the world for anything that happens with no deductible.
So you're paying a little bit up front, but you're not having to worry about it on the backside if
anything happens to it. Rod breaks, covered. You drop it on the deck. Whatever happens, once it's scheduled, it's like 100% coverage on everything.
Bob's pulling on a 300-pounder and he breaks his rod.
That'll probably break me first.
I don't know, not the way I saw that guy pull, man. He didn't look like he was going anywhere. No. That's for sure. Hey, when we come back, we got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. I want to remind you, this portion of the show is sponsored by the Fish Pros of Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you can get the premier processing experience. You can check out the new and easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips, and now with the addition of the brand-new team members, Fisherman's Processing is staying far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity, the finest customer service. Stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com and make that reservation today. When we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More phone calls, more texts, and a whole lot more with Bob and Kristy. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Hi, this is Tommy the Fishmonger from Tunaville Market and Grocery and the TV show Fishmonger. I've known Yosef Husseini for over 20 years, and he's the expert when it comes to real estate. He's helped me with estate planning and multiple estate questions that the average guy like myself just doesn't understand. Yosef's not only a fellow angler, but he's an amazing realtor that specializes in helping us in the angling community find their ultimate home. If you own a home, get a free, no obligation home evaluation now online from Yosef by typing in SoCalHomeEval.com. All you do is put in your address and you'll get that report fast. Yusuf is a SoCal real estate guy to go to. He's helped me and many of my customers and family members to find what they are looking for in a home. He understands the real estate market like no other, so take it from Tommy the Fishmonger. Yusuf's the real deal when it comes to your real estate needs. Go to SoCalHomeEval.com and I'll see you at Tunaville Market and Grocery.
24 years ago, I visited this amazing place called Hawaii Archipelago. I just could not get enough of these amazing islands, natural beauty, friendly people, and phenomenal fishing. I knew I had to spend more time there. Moving forward to today, here I am, a fishing lodge owner. Hi, this is Valerie Hopridge from Queen Charlotte Safaris in beautiful Hawaii Islands, British Columbia, Canada. We are a boutique lodge just steps from the Sanskrit Harbor, offering a truly unique fishing adventure. Our fishing is world class. You will fish for king salmon, halibut, lingcod, and much more. Our fishing grounds are untouched, unspoiled, and surrounded by stunning scenery. We are dedicated to making your adventure an experience that will be a lifetime of memories. We will welcome you as friends, and you will leave as part of the Queen Charlotte Safaris family. You will come for the fishing, and you'll come back for the memories. We are booking now. Please give me a call at 1-877-815-2892, or check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or website qcsafaris.com.
This is Art Taylor of Searcher Sport Fishing. Join Captain Mike Totter, Chef Josh Evans as a new era begins for Searcher Sport Fishing. Mike and Josh will continue the legacy of excellent customer service, fantastic food, and an amazing crew. Book your fishing adventure now online at searchersportfishing.com or call Celia at 619-226-2403. Searchersportfishing.com, 619-226-2403.
The lighter the bite and the cleaner the water means one thing. Need a thinner leader, more natural presentations. That's where Seaguar Gold Label leader material shines. It's Seaguar's thinnest leader material yet. That means it's even less visible underwater and creates more natural presentations for better catch rates on leader-shy fish. With exceptional knot and tensile strength, this advanced leader material is now available from 2-pound test for fishing trout in the Sierra to 80-pound test for big yellowfin in Guadalupe. Get Seaguar Gold Label at your favorite tackle dealer or learn more at Seaguar.com.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know, CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. We're having a great time in here this morning. Lots of fun. So much good info always comes out of the show. I love it when Bob and Kristy are here. If you want to get through, there's still time. We want to hear from you. 213-432-1090. That's how you call us on Let's Talk Hookup.
Gotta tell you, there's a great show coming tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. right here on Let's Talk Hookup. The Captain's Concept boys, Matt Bralla and Gavin Harbour will be here with Corey and Rick. I'm headed up to Pyramid Lake this afternoon to try and go catch one of those giants up there with Harold Davis, of all people.
That's going to be cool,
and so, so tomorrow morning, Corey and Rick here with Gavin and Matt from Captain's Concept. What a great show that
Those
is.
guys are that's it, man. Those
you guys
are the
are
ones.
Have some fun, for sure.
We're going to talk about some serious info coming out. It's going to be on tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, let's jump into the phones.
You got it. How about this time? We're going to try Dave again. Dave from Anza. He's back on the line. Good morning, Dave. You got us this time?
Hey, good. Yeah, I don't know what happened last time. Here I am. Yeah, great show, really interesting. Hey, my wife and I, we are big-time RV travelers. We spend anywhere from 2 to 5 months a year on the road traveling. We've been up to Alaska and back twice, coast to coast, all over. We have towing insurance through both AAA and AAA and Good Sam. I just wondered if you have anything that might kind of specifically be geared towards RV travelers. I'm particularly wondering, what if we're on the road, something happens to me, and my wife is stranded in the RV by herself? Do you have anything that can help us out there?
So as far as the travel insurance, no, we don't have specific plans for RV coverage. That is typically handled like what you have right now. Those are the typical carriers for that. So, but the travel insurance would assist you with medical necessities as far as if you needed medical transportation. If you became ill or injured, or if
as long as you're 100 miles from home.
Anytime your destination is 100 miles or more from home, yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's by car,
it doesn't matter.
Boat, plane,
Wow. Well, that's worth covering. And you can buy the annual policy to cover that.
That's correct.
If you're like a regular RVer.
Absolutely.
Like
I have lots of RVers that have the annual plan specifically for the medical.
For the medical
part of it. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Had a great,
Thanks, Dave, for the call.
Yeah, Dave. So this one has, Kristy, been covered, but I've had so many text messages that are just like Dave's here that I thought maybe we'd get a teeniest bit of clarification again because there's so many people asking about it. It says, thanks for another really interesting show to help fishermen. I thought I heard that you said earlier that you need to buy your insurance within 2 weeks of booking your trip. I have 8 fishing trips booked last year for this coming season. Since I booked the trips at different times, how does the 2-week requirement work when I'm booking multiple trips throughout the year? I really want to cover my trips. I'm loving this show. Thanks for the info from Dave.
Great question, Dave. So as far as the 2 week, the 2 weeks only pertains to pre-existing medical conditions. So you can still purchase an annual plan 1 day prior to your next trip. We recommend you purchase it as early as possible. But for the ones that you've already got deposits on, basically if those deposits were made more than 2 weeks ago, they would be excluded from pre-existing medical condition coverage. But if it was a new condition or, you became ill before one of those trips, that would still be covered.
Or if it was 6 months old, you've been fully recovered.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So the pre-existing is only something that you've been acutely treated for on the annual plan in the last 4 months. So it's a shorter time frame even then. Yes. And then
so if you haven't been treated for it in 4 months.
Right.
You're good.
Yes. And the other thing is, once you get an annual plan in place, if you renew it from year to year, it doesn't matter when you put your deposit in because you had coverage at the time that you made those deposits. So from year to year, we have lots of anglers that will just continue coverage year after year, and then they don't even have to worry about that ever again once they've got that plan in place.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just I buy my policy on January 15th every year, and I just keep renewing, and I throw a couple $100 at it, and I know that I'm covered all year long for everything no matter.
Or August 1st.
But again,
whatever your time is.
Just to Dave's point, like, don't let that 2 week scare you. That's only for a pre-existing thing. You buy that coverage today, all of your 8 trips for next year are all covered. All the evac, all the emergency stuff, everything's covered.
Right, and we can go over, different levels. Again, there's the 3,000, 5,000, 75, 10, and then up to 15 for families. So lots of options there.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So I'll use a little personal thing. I have a heart condition. I have a pacemaker, but I haven't been treated for any issues for over 4 months on that. If I buy something can I cover a trip that I didn't buy within the last 2 weeks, or because I have this pre-existing condition, is that covered or not?
So the policy reads, if you have been stable, like for somebody that has high blood pressure or like a pacemaker, and you have not had any issues with it, and you haven't needed to see the doctor for that in the last 4 months, that is not necessary.
But what about regular checkups or something like that?
If it's specific to that condition then
okay.
yes. But
if it's a general, just overall health checkup.
Right. If you've got high blood pressure and you're on blood pressure medication and you haven't had your medication changed in the last 4 months, not a pre-existing condition. Gotcha. Have you been to the hospital or the doctor because you had something going on happened, and you need to look at adjusting it? That's a pre-existing.
Okay, all right, yeah, gets complicated. Right. I have another one here for you guys, and it's from David in La Jolla. It says he says, "Good morning, Bob and Kristy. Do you cover lost or damaged items for bringing medication on an overseas fishing trip?"
Yes, you have, what is it, $1,000, Kristy, on personal effects?
On personal effects, it's $1,000, no more than $500 for a single item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those would be covered, and it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you're going to be covered on an annual plan anyway. The beauty of the annual plan, as opposed to single trip plans, is it covers every trip you make for a year from the starting date. So the other big benefit is if you're over 50, as you get older, if you want to buy a one-trip plan, the price goes way up. If you buy an annual plan, it's a flat price. So you could be 100 years old and go, I want a $3,000 plan. It's still only going to be $280. If you want a $10,000 plan, it's going to be
$805 for $10,000. Yep.
Okay. So it's anywhere between $280, $510. And
$635 for $7,500, and then $805 for $10,000.
Yeah, and don't buy more insurance than what you need. Just like Kristy said earlier, you just buy the insurance coverage for the most expensive trip you're going to make. Because if you don't use it, because it's going to roll over to the next trip, and so on. If you run out, we can always get you.
If you're going on 5 trips that are all $5,000 trips, you don't need $25,000 of the coverage.
Absolutely, we would recommend
that $5,000.
Yeah, just get the $5,000. Because if you don't use it, the next trip's covered, next one.
Fingers crossed, you're never even going to need to use it.
Hopefully not.
But the second you do, your butt's covered.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's cool. Hey, I thought this was a great text. Good morning, guys. I have an annual policy, and I have 2 questions. One, will my plan cover me on having to cancel a fishing charter? I live in Coachella Valley, and the trip would be a day-and-a-half trip. My second question is, I'm taking care of my elder mom. If I need to cancel because of her medical issues, will I still be covered on my annual? That's from Mark and La Quinta.
Great question, Mark. So again, there's different variables on that, but the quick answer is yes. So if you had purchased your plan, let's say, within 2 weeks of making your initial trip deposit and your mother was already ill and her condition worsened, you would still have coverage for if you had to cancel because her condition became worse. That is a reason for covered loss. It's you, a traveling companion, or a direct family member. So yes, that is a covered reason for loss. However, there's always variables to that. So for sure, give us a call at the office. We're happy to go over your specific scenarios as many times as needed. That's what we're there for, and to help expedite any claim processing you need.
Have you ever had one surprise you? I mean, Laura, I haven't heard that one yet.
Sure, I get questions. I'm surprised when I get one like that because we hear the same thing.
So much.
Exactly.
All these scenarios.
You guys have never, Bob, and all the times he was on the show, show, and now every time you join us, Chris, you guys have never been stumped one time. Yeah. Not once.
Well, a lot of it is the same, same concerns, because a lot of things happen, right? But we've heard, we've had claims paid that were many different scenarios, and we're like, wow, now we have to think about that too. But the good thing is most of them were all paid out, and we were able to help. So
yeah. Okay, I've got a good one here for you, and I know you probably know the answer to this here. Jason in San Diego writes, "Good morning, everyone. What a great show. My question is, if I have insurance and I'm on a trip to New Zealand by myself and I get critically injured and need to get life flighted home, you're saying it will cover my plane flight all the way back to San Diego? And what happens to all my stuff? Who takes care of my rods and my luggage and all that stuff?"
That's a great question. I don't often get asked what happens to all of your personal belongings.
Sure.
So there you go. That's not a question that comes up. But yes, as far as the medical evacuation, they would stabilize you if possible at the nearest suitable medical facility, and then yes, the policy under the emergency transportation benefit would pay for your transportation. Even with Bob has had clients before me, and we've had them since, where they had to have a nurse escort on a flight on a private jet to get them back to their home hospital, and that too was covered. It's whatever's medically necessary.
Yeah.
The policy will pay up to
a limit, or
yes, up to the policy limit. So on the annual plans, the lowest plan comes with $100,000 in emergency transportation, and then it goes up to $250,000 on the executive plan.
So and on a trip to New Zealand, you're probably going to buy the executive plan because it's an expensive trip. So you'd be covered for $250,000. That should get you home.
You get $250,000 to fly home.
Yeah.
I think so.
Now, what about getting your stuff home?
So I would imagine, that's part of your baggage. So there is a baggage benefit in the plan itself for lost baggage, right? Yeah. But your baggage would need to get home. So if there's an emergency transportation coverage, that's probably going to fall also under that. But that's a great question. Yeah. I would love for you to email me at Kristy@drinsure.com, and I will absolutely get you a 100% answer on that and get back to you.
Kristy at KRISTY@DRINSUR.com.
SURE.
SURE.
Yeah.
All right. DRINSURE.com.
That's correct.
I want to slide this one in because it pertains to kind of what we're talking about with the emergency evac. What a great show, guys. I've got 2 trips booked for Cedros this year with Cedros Sport Fishing, the fly-in. If I get injured, who determines if it's an emergency and if I'm qualified to be flown out early? That's from Jeff in Mission Viejo.
Well, if you're going to be medevaced, it's typically life-threatening. In other words, you can't break your thumb and expect that they're going to send a helicopter down or a plane down with a couple of paramedics in it to fix your finger. So,
sure.
Let's say you had a heart attack or something, or say broke a leg or something like that. Yeah, they'll definitely pick you up and get you to the nearest hospital to stabilize you. And if you're going to Cedros, they really don't have a lot there. I think they have a little urgent care thing on there.
The policy reads that the to the nearest suitable medical facility to be for the initial evaluation. But if you're on a boat, it's going to be up to whoever, the captain, the Coast Guard, whoever is basically
making the call.
Right, making the call is going to determine what the necessary course of action is. If they say, hey, we need this guy life-flighted off this boat, that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But if they say, this is what happened, we need to know the nearest medical facility to here, then, so it is a case-by-case basis.
Sure. All right, hey, when we come back, we're going to find out who's going fishing on board the Liberty. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and that Let's Talk Hookup app.
Gas prices are going up, up, up. So now more than ever, you need Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena. Pull up to the newly expanded Summit Gasoline and get low gas and diesel prices for your car, truck, and boat. They can now accommodate 24 cars and trucks to fuel at the same time, plus 12 diesel boats, plus 100 pounds of free ice with a minimum 35-gallon fill-up. Easy in and out, too. Step into the Summit Bistro and enjoy what Martha and her crew have for you on things you can use. Fresh-made burritos, sandwiches, salads, along with beer, beverages, and of course, always free ice. So many Let's Talk Hookup listeners have taken advantage of Summit Gasoline's low prices, great service, and free ice. They have become the largest seller of fresh gourmet ice in Southern California. Summit also sells frozen bait and fishing licenses 24 hours a day. Summit Gasoline. Low prices, friendly staff, free ice, and easy in and out with your boat and trailer at the San Diego Sports Arena.
This is Captain Art Taylor from Searcher Sport Fishing. Your hook is one of the most important links to catching fish. And at Searcher Sport Fishing, we use and recommend Gamakatsu hooks. The Gamakatsu Nautilus hook is best for tuna. And now with a variety of sizes all the way down to size 4, Gamakatsu hooks are the ones to use. It's important to be prepared with the right tackle when you come aboard Searcher, so that should include Gamakatsu hooks.
This is Bob Hoots at Costa Sunglasses. Visual signs are a critical part of my fishing program, from bay bass to bluefin. I wear Costas to see what's out there. Costas are built with advanced polarization technology with our 580 lens, designed to cut through the sun's glare while providing enhanced color to see more fish. Costa was founded by a group of anglers wanting a high-performance lens for every fishing application. Costa has a West Coast style frame and lens for your adventures. CostaSunglasses.com.
San Diego, if there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your San Diego County Ford dealer is the place to start. With great offers on a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains, get your ideal combination of power and capability. Whether it's gas, hybrid, or all electric, you have the power to choose. Get ready and go get your own. Visit your local San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. All right, it's time for the prize coin. Bob's going to do us the honors today.
Give it to it, Bob.
Let's do it. All right, today we have a texter winning, and congratulations, Jeff in Mission Viejo. You have got yourself a trip on board the Liberty, full-day trip out of Fisherman's Landing. Go get some of those Coronado Island yellows and cods.
For sure, and I might add, too, that we do have 2 sponsored 2-day trips on the Liberty, September 22nd, October 14th, limited to just 25 people, super good price, including meals, $825. They're going fast, so if you want to go to fishermanslanding.com and book those trips on the Liberty, the Let's Talk Hookup trips. And Kristy and Bob, never enough time. My gosh, we were flooded with phones, we were flooded with texts, and you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us on. This is fun.
And Bob, congratulations on your retirement. You're still going strong.
Yeah, I'm still going fishing.
And you're still going. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Good luck on the Royal Star next Saturday.
Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah. Good luck on that. And Kristy, if somebody wants more information, wants to buy travel insurance, whatever, all the different coverages that you guys do at Dawson Insurance Services,
sure.
How do we do that?
So the best way to get a hold of us is by phone at 619-460-5615, and all the extensions are there for whatever type of insurance you're looking for, and we would love to hear from you.
And if they want to email you directly with a specific question?
It's Kristy, Kristy, at drinsure.com.
All right. It's fantastic. And, of course, I have that policy. I would not exist without that travel insurance policy. I mean, I travel a lot. Whether you travel 2 or 3 times or a dozen times in a year, it's the same price, and it's a no-brainer, as we say, right? As low as $280 for the entire year for all your trips.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
Give us a call.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out, and thank you to JP for manning the phones and the board, and thank you to Adam for all he does on the Let's Talk Hookup app. As I said, Rick and Corey will be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. We have Captain Matt Bralla, Captain Gavin Harbour from Captain's Concepts on the show tomorrow morning. That's going to be a great show. We want to thank you out there for your texts, your calls, and your support of Let's Talk Hookup. We very much appreciate you, and hope you enjoy what's going on here tomorrow morning. It's going to be a great show. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you tomorrow morning right back here on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and the Let's Talk Hookup app.